Hello, guys. Good evening. My name is Cheryl Grabowski, and welcome to my live. I have three subscribers or three viewers that are here now. Could you guys type in the comment section so that I can make sure that you guys hear me well and let me know that everything is working properly? Um, that would be nice. And go ahead and like the video. Do it now, and I will greatly appreciate that. Go ahead and like it quickly. I have a guest who's on the way, Rosemary Broco, and we're going to have a deep laners conversation this evening. So, again, welcome to my live. I hope y'all have had a fantastic day and a very productive day. I hope that you have. I'm waiting for my moderators. It's Thursday night. We got one more. Tomorrow will be Friday, and then we can start the weekend. Yes. So, there she go. I think that's her. Let's see. One guest. There she is. Um, and good
I
evening.
don't have a picture in there.
Did you? Hello, Rosemary.
Hi, Cheryl.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm pretty good too.
You
You
can
didn't.
hear me okay?
Oh yeah, I can hear you loud and clear.
Okay.
So you don't have a photo? Did you want to go back
Um,
down and see if you could put one up there, or if you don't have to, you don't want to?
I
It's not a big deal.
okay, yeah. I would have to go find one.
Okay, because you don't have one just ready to go. Because I mean, I've done StreamYard quite a few times, so.
I would on my phone, but I'm on my computer and I don't know.
Oh, so it's a difference.
Um, maybe I can.
We have some people in the bushes, but nobody that I know,
Oh,
because they're not saying anything. Normally, they would come in and speak to me. So I'm trying to find my channel on the other phone and see, am I missing something? Let's see, Cheryl Grabowski live. No, no, I'm not missing anything. Um, are you still here, Rosemary?
I'm here. Did you went live like 5 minutes ago?
Yeah, I just kind of sat a couple of minutes. I got everything ready and just sat, and then I sent you the link.
Okay. I'm looking on my phone for a picture.
Okay, that's fine.
But we can start while I look. It's not a big deal.
Okay, I'm gonna let you
Unless
start.
you wanna wait and give people a little time to get here.
Um,
I don't know what you usually do, so
well, I don't, I don't do StreamYard a lot. No, normally if I'm in StreamYard, I just go to talking about whatever it is that we're gonna talk about. But yeah, you could go ahead and look for the photo while I do some talking, because I don't know exactly like. But anyway, so in the topic we're talking about tonight, childhood sexual, and y'all know we have to say it that way for the algorithm, but sexual abuse, that's what we're talking about. um and it is a very deep um topic. For some people it could be very uncomfortable, um and for other people, not so comfortable. It just depends on where you are with the conversation. It's ironic though, because I just got off the phone with someone who is a survivor of sexual abuse when they were a child. And he was talking about, you know, children being, what do you call it? When they take kids and they're um, have them as workers. And so I was saying to the person I was talking to on the phone, I was like, like people are really sick, you know, they are really sick. And it's unfortunate to really think about people exploiting kids that way. Like for most of us, it is so terrible. There's the photo.
I
For
did it.
most of us, you did it. For most of us, the idea of people exploiting kids that way is unthinkable and is very sickening. And it's very sad, but it's happening, in the world. Yeah. So Rosemary, talk to me. The human child trafficking, yes. There's somebody in.
Um,
What's up, WV?
oh, I can't see any of that. So
Oh, okay. You got another device or something that you can um go on my page and then just have it right there beside you, because I have my old phone right here.
oh, where are we? Are we on YouTube or Facebook?
We're on YouTube and it's just on my channel. So if you type my
Okay.
name in, we're live right there. So we're live right there.
Okay. Let me turn the volume down. Okay,
Thank you.
got it.
Okay.
Oh, there's a delay too. What do you know?
Mhm. There's always a delay.
Sorry, I'm in a squeaky chair. I don't know if you can hear
I did.
that. Okay, so where do you want to go with this? I don't know a ton about trafficking. It's, believe it or not, even though I've worked a lot with women who have experienced all different forms of abuse, trafficking is not one of them.
Okay. I wanted to start. I think a good place to start is the signal. I don't know if I want to use the word signal, but the signs. What happens? Like, what does that look like? Like when a person has had has been abused in the childhood sexually. What does that look like?
I think, to be honest with you, that's a little bit of a slippery slope to look at it that way, only because I think lots of different forms of childhood abuse can
Mhm.
manifest in adulthood in a very similar way.
Mhm.
So I just feel like if we go, oh, well, you experience this or you experience that, people might go, oh, well, does that mean I was?
Okay.
Even if they weren't. Do you know what I mean? Um, I think some of the things that people experience is one of the biggest things, but again, I think right now on the planet, we're realizing that almost everyone feels some of these things, um, because we all went through traumas of some kind in childhood.
Mhm.
And we wind up feeling separated and disconnected from ourselves. And I think the biggest part of that is because we're all spiritual beings and we have a higher self, a pure self. And then these experiences we have in childhood separate us from that. They put a veil or a cloud over that. And then we're functioning from this sort of false self. And we feel like there's a piece of us missing, the most important piece of us missing, not just that we're not expressing it in our lives, but we're feeling disconnected from it within ourselves.
Okay. Um, what about the shame that's involved in it?
There's a lot of guilt and shame and self blame and self hatred. When we're children, everyone has what they refer to as a narcissistic mind, but it's not narcissistic necessarily in the way we think of it. It's that the whole world revolves around you because your world is very small, and the part of your brain that kind of separates you from everyone and everything on the outside hasn't formed yet. So, because everything is about you, when you have these experiences in childhood, that's also about it's your fault.
That's
That's how the
also a
child
what? What'd you say? Because the audio went out for a second.
that's also about you, and so it becomes your fault in the
Okay.
child in the child mind
So then the child begins to blame themselves
themselves.
for what
Mhm.
has happened to them because
Mhm.
they're so young, they don't know that this person that has done this thing to them, they're not supposed to do it. In a sense, do you think that that's how a child would feel?
Yeah, they don't have the cognitive ability. Their
Yeah.
brains are not formed. They're just not aware enough to even contemplate something like, oh, that person, and it's usually almost always statistically
Hmm.
someone in the family.
Hmm.
So that person outside of me, that family member out there, is a separate person who's thinking for themselves, making decisions, not doing, like, even just listen to those words, like a child isn't capable of thinking on that level. So then they
Okay.
think a few different things. One of
Hmm.
the biggest disconnects is that your internal state is telling you this is bad. And as kids, we can read energy and more than anything, even if we don't have the
Yes.
cognitive ability.
Yes.
So we're experiencing it as a bad thing, and we're reading the energy that it's a bad thing. But very often, not always, of course, the person on the outside is acting like it's a game or it's something fun or there's nothing wrong with it because the adult wouldn't, in the child mind, the adult wouldn't be doing it if it was,
Hmm.
so there's all of this confusion and questioning yourself, and
Yes.
we start to not trust our own intuition and our own reading of energy, even though we aren't capable of contemplating it as that's what's happening.
Okay, so I remember one time a wonderful, dear um, woman that I met. At the time, she was maybe like 43. We were at the beach. We were having a conversation, like a girls' weekend at the beach, and we were got into one of those deep conversations like I love to have. And she had seen me do a live on Facebook, and she pulled me to the side and she said, can I talk to you about something?" I said, "Yeah." She's deceased now, and I do believe that because of what she experienced in her childhood, over the years she just couldn't navigate it at all, and lots of addictions and lots of crazy stuff happened. But she was saying to me, she explained this part very well. She said, "My mother's brother, my uncle, started doing bad things to me around the age of," she said, I believe she said, around 8 years old, until she was around 12, 13. She was explaining that to me. And then and she said the most terrible part about it, Cheryl, is that I began to like it. So that's what she said around, those around 12, 13. So I would imagine once she got around maybe 15, 16, 17, she probably got madder than hell because she knows mental wise that is wrong, but the body does what it does, right? But those traumas and that whole thing that she went through, she never got it together. She even asked me to confront the uncle for her at 40 something.
Wow. And did you?
Right. And she passed away. She passed away in surgery. I just felt like she had, I mean, Rosemary, there was so many layers, like from toxic relationships to drug addiction. I mean, serious stuff. And I know most of it was all just around that. Like, it was terrible. The shame that she had and the desperation. at the beach when she talked to me. Like, she's asking me at 40 something years old, can you confront my uncle? Because she still didn't know how to do it, you know? So it's just, it was a lot. Yeah, I remember that.
It is a lot. And I think the most challenging part of it is that it's so taboo to talk about even now. I know there's Me Too and all of this, but
Yeah.
it's difficult to talk about. It's kept so much in secrecy. Um, Very often at those young ages, children are threatened if they tell anyone. I know I was threatened. I was told by one perpetrator that they would kill my parents and I had two perpetrators, and kill our family dog. And this all started, I was very, very young, starting at
Hmm.
as young as I can remember, which is at 4. Um, and then we also, which Cheryl, we talk about this all the time,
Hmm.
we live in a world where everyone is emotion phobic. So when we have those experiences of shame and fear and all of that stuff, we don't even know how to name it. We don't know how to process it. We don't know what that is. And then our nervous systems go into fight or flight just because we're having emotions and they feel unsafe because we don't know what to do with them. We don't know how to name them. And then that just piles up and turns into things like anxiety and depression and
Hmm.
drug addiction and all of those things, because
Yes.
things like drug and alcohol addiction is to escape the feeling,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
It's like
Yes.
I'm feeling these things and I don't know what to do with them. I don't know how to name them. No one ever taught me how to process this. So and it's so unbearable that I'm going to find a way to escape. And it's not just drugs and alcohol, it's
Food,
shopping or
sex,
binge watching
yeah,
or whatever,
everything. You got anything? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think the most important thing is, at least in the work that I've done with myself and with other people, the most important thing is learning to feel your feelings and name your feelings. Like, it's often like what you would think we would be being taught at 2, 3 and beyond years old,
Hmm.
about, oh, that thing that you're experiencing, that's sadness. Oh, that thing that you're experiencing, that's fear. But it sounds so basic, but we haven't been taught that. And then when you live a whole life, childhood traumas, and then failed relationships and jobs and all different things, and it just piles up and piles up and piles up, and we get to adulthood and it manifests as, anxiety and depression and all these different things, because it's just a big pile of emotion that we have not processed out. Like, emotions are energy in motion, but if we hold it in because we don't know what to do with it and our system is literally terrified of it, then it stays stuck in the system, and it doesn't get to float and process out. It doesn't get to move out like it should, like it naturally would.
Well, right. I'm thinking, because I think, like, I think about her all the time. I've heard other stories from other people and everything, but I just think about her because she had all the parts. Like, when she was communicating with me, it was almost like I was a child, I was vulnerable, this thing happened to me, my body responded to it. That's my mother's brother. I'll destroy the family. Or, but I messed up. I don't know how to fix myself. My life is shitty. Like, what do I do? I feel like a lot of people are like that. And I don't know. I just feel like the biggest part of it with me is just people are ashamed, but there's no reason to be, really, because if we all remember when we were children, like, if you just remember a child, like, a child is a child, like, they are vulnerable. We could do whatever we want to them, really, if we wanted to. But for some reason, outside of that thinking and feeling, that person feels like that they've done something wrong. And I think except they meet somebody like us or find a program or something, I think they die like that.
Yeah,
You good?
I mean, this is most often generational. It's, ancestral trauma. It gets passed down from family to family. So this has been going on for a long time, but I do feel that at this time on planet Earth, we are confronting it more. And I think the most
We are.
important thing is for people to find a safe space, whether it's with a therapist or a coach or a mentor or someone who can help them navigate that, because it's not just shame that the thing happened, it's shame of self. It's
Yes.
feeling, it's a really deep
Hmm.
rooted feeling that something's wrong with me, I'm broken,
Oh,
something's bad about me.
can I ask why? Why does that automatically happen? Something's wrong with me. I'm broken. It's me. Like this bad thing. This is me. Like they become. Like what is that? Why is that happening? I wonder. I don't know.
It's because when we experience these things as children, we're processing them as children, and they get stuck in the subconscious mind. So the conscious mind, yeah, it's an adult and it can process, but these things get trapped in the subconscious mind under our awareness, and it's still
So that's the
processing the
why.
same way, the
Yeah.
same age that you were when it happened. So
So
these
that's
are
the why.
child feelings.
Okay.
Yes, that's the
Thank
why.
you. That's the
You're
why.
welcome. Mhm.
Thank you very much. Because I'm
You're
asking,
welcome.
I'm asking questions because I feel like that's what people could possibly thinking. Like, why do I feel this way? Like, why am I blaming myself? And why do I internalize everything? And why do I feel like it's my fault? But you just said because of the subconscious. And it's
Yes, and
and
that's so important to get to the subconscious. Like, we can think about it all day long in our conscious mind, and it's not going to change anything on the subconscious level. We need in our healing to be able to reach the subconscious, like
so
those feelings of things like, so I define like an emotion as happy, sad, and a feeling could be there's something wrong with me, or I'm not good enough, or I don't deserve X, Y, and Z, whatever it
hmm
is.
hmm
And those are things that are stuck in the subconscious mind. And in order to change things in the subconscious mind, you need to have access to the subconscious mind. You need to make what's unconscious conscious so you can release it out and change what's in the subconscious mind.
So are you saying that, just for clarification, are you saying that we're walking around every day with two minds,
Yes.
possibly?
And we think we function from the conscious mind, which is where we're thinking all the time, but scientifically, only 5% of what we do and who we are is the conscious mind. Everything else, 95%, is the subconscious mind.
Okay. Ooh, slow it down. Okay. That was an aha moment. You said how much percent is the subconscious mind?
95.
So we're walking around following programs.
Absolutely.
And what are programs?
They are thoughts, feelings, and beliefs that are set up in the subconscious mind. So just like,
How do they get
we're
there?
experiences, um, childhood experiences, traumatic experiences, even in adulthood, can instantly program things in the subconscious mind. But also, it's the exact age is a little bit debated in the scientific world, but from 0 to 7, the subconscious mind is wide open, and it's it's just being programmed. It's like a brand new computer, and everything that you're witnessing and experiencing in your life up until 7 is automatically going into the subconscious mind as a program, even prior to birth in utero.
Okay, so programs.
Mm-hmm.
Programs. People are tormented, some, I know I have been, by some of those programs that I very much dealt with upwards of 45, 46, 47, 48.
We can actually use something very light, if you don't mind, um,
Okay.
to kind of give listeners an idea of what we're talking about. When you and I worked together, you had a fear of dogs,
Yes.
and you didn't know why, right? You were walking around in your entire life with a fear of dogs. And through some conversation, we uncovered an experience you had with a dog in your childhood. You weren't
Mm-hmm.
thinking about this consciously, but it was
Mm-mm.
ruling your life
Mm-hmm.
all the way up until adulthood. And we went into the subconscious mind and resolved the subconscious program about dogs. And it was less than 30 minutes after you had a fear of dogs your whole life that we were able to remove it. But you didn't know that consciously, right? There was something that happened, an experience you had in childhood that program was playing. You were living that program
Yes, yes.
day in
And
and day out, and not even
yes.
know. You were, when we initially started talking about it, you said, I have no idea why I'm afraid of dogs, because it
Right.
was in the
Because
subconscious mind.
yeah, because you had asked me, and other people have asked me over the years, like, did you get bit by a dog? And I was like, never. I never got bit by a dog, like never. I was sort of kind of
But you had a
chasing.
negative experience with a dog, let's just put it that way, and a negative emotional experience
It was
regarding a
very much,
dog.
yeah, it was very much emotional. It was all, it was very much emotional, really. Just basically seeing a dog really, really mistreated. And, to the point where I was just like, I can't have anything to do with the dog because I just don't want to love a dog because I've always seen dogs be mistreated. Like, it was just, I just didn't want to have anything to do with the dog.
And that's a perfect example, because you weren't bit, you weren't hurt, but it turned into a fear of dogs because the dogs represented all of the emotion around that experience that was trapped in the subconscious.
Right.
And to experience dogs was to, I always say, poke the hornet's nest of those emotions. And so it was you had a set up program that said dogs
The
are bad,
program.
stay
Yep.
away from them. And that's
Absolutely.
how that's how your system, unbeknownst to you,
Hmm.
set you up to keep you safe from those emotions associated with dogs. Now think, if you have a negative experience in childhood where you're being abused, and maybe it's by a male or maybe it's by a female, you're going to have all sorts of programs set up for relationships, for men, for
Yes.
women, and you're going to be living that in all of your relationships into adulthood,
Subconscious wise. And
subconsciously, right?
yeah, subconsciously. Yes. So the layers, right? Those are all the different layers. And so now I want to read a comment that somebody put in the comment section, Rosemary, and I want you to respond to it. Um, she says, I love this quote. I'm not sure who wrote it, but it says, a belief is a thought that you can keep repeating in your head, keep on repeating in your head. A belief is a thought that you can keep on repeating in your head.
So I have heard this before, that through many people, that a belief is just a thought you keep thinking over and over and over again.
Mm,
But if it's subconscious, you don't even know you're thinking it, because you're not aware, you're not paying attention to it, you're not aware of it. It's so far in the periphery that you don't even realize it's there ruling your life.
Wait a minute. Say that again. Slow it down. Wait a minute. Say it one more
So
time.
a belief
Mm-hmm.
is just a thought you
Mm-hmm.
keep thinking again and again and again.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, when that thought is subconscious, you don't realize that you're thinking it.
So then you're feeling it.
Oh
It's a
yeah, you're
feeling.
feeling it, just
You're,
like the dog thing.
hmm
You're
you're
feeling
feeling
it,
it.
you're living from it, you're
Mm-hmm.
acting as if
Mm-hmm.
without
Mm-hmm.
even knowing it.
Without even being aware or conscious of it in your
Bingo.
conscious mind.
Right.
Yeah. So you have this feeling about something. You don't know why. That's how it was with the dog. You feel that way. You don't even know why. You're not even aware or conscious of it. But this feeling is controlling you, or this feeling is moving you and guiding you, this feeling. And you don't even know why.
Yes. And there are a multitude of ways to access the subconscious mind, and the more you do it, the better you are at it. And I don't know if you remember when we worked together, I used to say, when you have a feeling and it's fleeting, you have to lasso it in and pull it back, because that's the subconscious thing that is about to just slip by you, and you got to go, oh wait a minute, I just had this thought, let me pull that back in. And when we initially worked on your fear of dogs, I didn't you can access it, you can access the subconscious mind through things like meditation and hypnosis and that kind of stuff. But we didn't do that to figure out what was going on. I just knew the questions to ask. I asked you a few questions. We had like a 20-minute talk, and we were able to uncover, just through conversation, what was going on in the subconscious mind.
Why do we need to uh, investigate? Why do we need to um, why do we need to access the subconscious mind? What is the
To set
biggest
our
reason?
to set ourselves free, to reunite with the truest part of who we are. Meaning, if from 0 to 7, and I
Mm-hmm.
actually believe it goes way beyond that, but
Mm-hmm.
age wise, someone else is programming us. A different generation is programming us. People who lived in essentially a different world, right? Our parents did not live in the same world we're living in. Things were very different. And they weren't doing the healing work that many in this generation and at this time in history are doing. So these brokenness, out of alignmentness is passed on to us. We learn it from our parents, but that's not the truth of who we are. The truth of who we are is what we think in the conscious mind. Like, most of us can say, oh yeah, of course I know that I'm worthy. I know that I'm a good person. I know that I've made mistakes, but I'm not a bad person. My heart is in the right place, whatever, whatever. But on a subconscious level, there are these, I call them guilty consciences, of in the feeling space of like that you're not good enough, or that your feelings don't matter, or depending on if you're male or female, because we each have different programs, but women aren't supposed to feel, be overly emotional. Men are supposed to pretty much not be emotional at all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's all these things that are, they're not the truth. And if we want to live from who we really are and from our own truth in the conscious mind, then we need to release those programs and reprogram ourselves with what the truth is. Or really, for most of it,
Mm-hmm.
on the deepest level, we already are pure. We already we are love. We love ourselves, we love other people, we're kind, we're compassionate, we're energetic, We believe we're worthy of love and abundance and all of those things, but these programs block that. It's like the sun in the sky with clouds in front of it. So we have to, when we move those clouds out of the way, when we go into the subconscious mind and we find out what those clouds are made of and we release them, then we're able to live from our true self. We're able to experience real love and connection, real connection with ourselves, real self-worth. And when those things change on the inside, things shift on the outside.
Um, when people see, when people see, okay, I'll just talk about me because I don't want to talk about people anymore. Just talk about me now. As 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 I change, right? I've done a lot of changing in the last 5 years. I've done a lot of. I don't go to the same places anymore. I don't even talk to the same people anymore. Right. Um. I don't watch television pretty much anymore. Um. Like there's been a lot of change with me. It's been a lot of change. Okay, so the people that are in my life that knew me, they think like, what in the hell? You know? Um, it's not all that popular, Rosemary, to be changing. People don't even know that you're supposed to or that you can. you know People, like, I don't know, it's just all, it's this thing, because it's the saying, I hate it so much. Like, it's one of the things I hate the worst, is like, I'ma always be me. Like, people pop their chest like, I ain't gonna never change. That is not good, ma'am and sir. Ma'am and sir, that is not like, nobody needs to say that anymore. That is the worst. Please don't say that. Like, I ain't gonna never change. I always been like this. You ain't gotta worry about me changing.
It's a
Uh
shield. It's actually a shield to protect from the feelings of hating yourself.
oh God.
That's what that is.
That's
I'm
what
never
it
gonna
is.
change. Yeah,
It's
it's a
coming from
shield.
hate.
Self-loathing, maybe hate's a difficult word, but
Okay. Self.
self-loathing, guilt, shame, that's a good mask. That's a good shield.
Oh
If
my
you
God.
feel a lot of self-loathing and
Yeah.
shame and guilt, to say, hey, I am who I am and I'm never going to change, you're
Can
trying
we?
to convince yourself that
Yeah.
you're all right and you've been all right and who cares what, you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah. Can we
again,
go back
that's
to you
that's a
saying,
program.
okay, the program. Okay, how is the program different from the mask? Because I myself have masked my ass off.
Well, I think the program is running in the background and the mask is what you put forward. It's fake.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I need some water. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Say that one more time. Because I need a damn pen. But that's okay. I got the podcast. I can go back. Say that one more time. Because that was really good.
You asked what the difference
The
was
mask.
between the
What's the difference
program and the
between the mask
mask.
and yeah? Uh-huh.
The program is running in the background inside, and the mask is how you present on the outside.
Rosemary, you in one. Okay, that's it right there. That's what every damn
Welcome to
body.
planet Earth.
That's what every damn body is walking around doing right there. That's it.
And it's so uncomfortable. It's like this is why we don't, this is why we feel disconnected from ourselves and then we have a hard time connecting with others because,
Of the program and the mask.
yep. And we all do it. if we haven't consciously, and it's always a process and an unfoldment, and
Yeah.
there's always a new mask that can come off. But if we haven't kind of hunkered down and looked at
Mm-hmm.
this stuff, which
Mm-hmm.
it's scary to look at, right? It's
Yeah.
vulnerability, it's raw, it's not easy. And there's a lot
I
of
know.
the subconscious mind also is afraid of that stuff. So it's not even just like, oh, I want to look at this. Let me
Wait a
look
minute.
at this. Oh, it's scary. But the
Okay, wait a minute.
subconscious is like, don't
Why
do
is
that.
this?
Danger.
Why though? But why would the subconscious be saying, "Don't do that, danger"? Why would the subconscious be doing that?
Because in some way, shape, or form in childhood, we all had experiences that felt like, whether they were or weren't, doesn't matter, but felt like the self with a capital S was
Mm-hmm.
being rejected. So if you have a program that says that deep inner self is going to be rejected, the system is going to go, don't go near that. You're going to experience rejection again.
Mm-hmm.
Stay away
Mm-hmm.
from, and that's like just one example, right? Or
Yeah.
that person experienced those events that I have all sorts of shame about. Don't go near that, because if you go near that, now you're poking the hornet's nest of shame.
I remember. I remember. I mean, literally saying to myself, because people used to tease me the way that I walked. People just would tease the shit out of me for I don't know how, because I don't see my damn self walking. I'm just walking. But I remember having a conversation with myself. I think I was around 10 or 11 when I decided that I'm going to change that walk. I won't walk like that anymore. I'll change it. And I remember that with some other things that I did. I mean, just as plain as day, like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do this. Do you think that was masking?
I think it's a combination, but I do want to point out, because this just popped into my head very, very
I love the
strongly
stuff that
with
pops
what
in
you
your
were
head.
saying.
I love it.
Um, Now think about that was with a walk. Now think if you're a child and you experience some sort of trauma or neglect or not having your emotional needs met, you're going to do the same thing. You just said, so I'm going to change how I walk.
Yeah,
Well,
because
then
they
it's
didn't
I'm
like
going to
it.
change how I feel. And
Mm,
now that's trauma in and of itself. That's emotional trauma. Even whether something did or didn't happen physically doesn't matter. When that's what we do in childhood, and that's how the disconnect happened. Oh, I I was
so,
I'm a super sensitive person. I'm an HSP. And so I
mhm,
got a lot of, oh, you're overreacting. Oh, you're a drama queen. Oh, this and that. So I
mhm,
tried to stuff down, change, pretend I wasn't who I was. So it
mhm,
becomes a program that aspect of me is bad and nobody wants it and it's not lovable, right? That's the
right.
program. And the
Mhm.
mask becomes whatever it becomes. I'm going to be tough. I'm going to be, and sometimes it can be positive things that can show
Yes.
up, maybe to an extreme. Like I'm super independent. I can take care
Or
of
super
myself.
nice.
Like,
Or I'm
right,
the super nice girl. Like I'm so
right.
nice. Yeah.
Right. Right. And
And
then
it's
when you
all
start
messed up.
working on yourself and you're not that
Mhm.
same person anymore, you're not mean, but you maybe have boundaries. The people who are used to crossing your
Oh
boundaries
well,
or
I'm
you not
experienced.
having boundaries, they don't like that.
Yeah, oh my God. Oh my God. They don't like that. They don't like, I me and Monet, we had a conversation today. Like I said, some people I don't, I'm not around a lot of people, Rosemary, that I've been loving all my life, right? And because they're used to me, like they're used to me being the happy person or the person that, we're gonna do the party and I'm gonna bring what do you want to do? Oh, I'm coming with, and then I got to the place where I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. And as soon as I just a little bit of it, then everybody, I mean, folks just lost their damn mind. Like, what has happened to Cheryl? She don't care about nothing. No, well, actually, I do care about something. And that would be me, because I'm getting to know myself better. So it doesn't mean that I don't love you. It means that I'm working on me because I'm worth it. Do you see what I'm saying? I'm really bored with that old fucking program. I don't want it anymore.
I totally hear you. I wanna bring a thread of
Okay.
compassion and empathy into that, because what's happening with the other people who don't like that is that when someone around you changes or confronts things, or decides, hey, that partying I was doing, I don't want to do it anymore, instantaneously people self-reflect. I mean, when someone in your experience goes through something, it's a natural thing that you reflect. A small example is when, they say when people go to weddings, they mostly think about themselves, right? They're like,
Right. Hmm.
that's just how we are. It's just human nature. We self-reflect. And so when someone, let's say in a circle or in a family or whatever, decides, hey, I'm going to work on something, and they work on something and they change something, everyone in that circle or that family or whatever is their mind is going to automatically self-reflect. And if it's too difficult or painful or challenging for them to self-reflect, they're going to deflect you, because now
Oh.
you are hitting that hornet's nest. And when I talk about the hornet's nest, which I do all the time,
Hmm.
it's that uncomfortable place within us where those uncomfortable thoughts and feelings and memories and experiences are. So when
Wait a
that
minute. Wait,
starts to
wait.
get poked, if they don't
Wait, can
want
you say
to,
that
or
one more time, Rosemary? That's the place where
the discomfort is,
the discomfort.
whether it's the
Because
thoughts, the feelings, the memories, experiences, whatever, the pain, it's housed in there. So when I say like you're poking the hornet's nest, it means you are bringing something unconscious. You're making something, not even on purpose or knowing it, you're making something unconscious in that person conscious, and they don't want to be conscious of it because it doesn't feel good. And if they don't know what to do with it, and they push you away, it actually has nothing to do with you. It's not that they don't like you. It's not that they wish you bad, or they want you to
right,
stay in pain, or not well, or
absolutely.
whatever. It's that it's their own, they don't know how to deal with their own stuff that's in the unconscious, what's in that hornet's nest. They don't have the skills or the strength or the desire or the courage or whatever it is to deal with it. And now you're making them uncomfortable because you're triggering that. That's what a trigger is. You're triggering that stuff up to the surface for them. So then they have to push you away in order to get some relief. It's self-preservation, and it also is most often completely unconscious, that they're not thinking about it and doing it on purpose. It is like automatic part, just like we have an immune system that works
Hmm.
to keep us well if we get cut or we get sick. Well, there are parts of the system that are working all the time to keep us safe from discomfort and emotional pain and mental anguish. And so those things kick in, and now again they're acting from those automatic unconscious places. It's not malicious, and it's not done on purpose. It comes from their own pain.
Why don't we want to deal with the pain? Why don't we want to deal with the pain? Why would we rather fight lions, tigers, and bears rather than confront the pain?
One, because it hurts. Two, because we are only just learning those skills. This is, to me, this is human evolution, that we are so blessed to be on the planet at this time, because the skills are showing up, the people are showing up, the courage is showing up, there's more acceptance for it now than there's ever been on planet Earth. But it's been ingrained in us hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. It's natural for all living beings to avoid pain and move toward pleasure. You're literally going against nature. You're working against a lot. It takes a lot of courage and strength and commitment and determination, because you're not really fighting anything out there. You're fighting it all in here.
Inside. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely.
Like, think about a flower. It moves toward the sun. That's, it's the natural thing, is we want to move to the things that feel good. This is why, like, so many people are like, oh, I can't meditate. It's not for me. Because you sit down to meditate and it's very uncomfortable, because that's when the stuff that's playing out all the time in the subconscious decides, you can hear it. It's right there. It's talking to you. It's on a hamster wheel in your head. The discomfort, you can feel the emotions in your body. You just sit down and close your eyes and sit with yourself. It's all right there. And that's why meditation, and this is just an example, meditation is a practice that you do. People don't go, oh yeah, I meditated and then I got there and I stopped. You know what I mean? It's something you do forever, because the human body, the whole, literally the physical body as well as the mind, want to run away from that stuff. So you have to continually practice going into it. The beauty with meditation is you go into it, you come out, you go into it, you come out, and you start to gain muscle in the ability to sit with it, to feel it, to be with it. And even if the system is like, whoa, what are you doing? You're able to, then the more you practice going in there, whether it's with meditation or in some other way, your system gets more used to it. So even though your system you'll still get like a reaction, or you'll feel yourself wanting to not go there, but you gain tools and you know what works for you to go, no, I can go there. And eventually you can gradually start to retrain the system that it's not that bad. So maybe at first, if you go near those emotions, you are having a panic attack, or it's making you want to, drink a fifth of vodka or whatever. Over time, you'll learn, like, oh, it's not, even though it's uncomfortable to go in there, I don't have to panic. So you gradually start to retrain the system that this is an okay exercise of going in there, and it's not going to stay forever, and I'm not going to die. I mean, you must remember, I know you do, because we talk about it all the time, but when I had a program and worked with people with childhood trauma, through the whole program, we'd work on this, getting into your emotions, feeling your emotions, naming your emotions, going into that discomfort. But the whole first 2 weeks was dedicated only to that. And pretty much everyone in the program would cry for 2 weeks straight and get on and be emailing me and calling me and saying, they were panicking. They were like, literally, their system, you're in fight, your system thinks your life is threatened if you feel your emotions. But by the end of 2 months, 3 months, it's like, oh, okay, I got this. I get it. I can feel my feelings now, and I'm not going to die.
Right.
It's no joke. It's quite an undertaking in the beginning. It is one of the most uncomfortable, excruciating things, because which generation after generation after generation of, there was a commercial, I guess it was probably in the 80s, that was like for Tylenol or Motrin or something. And the slogan was, haven't got time for the pain. I mean, our whole culture is built on that.
But you know what? It is. I guess I don't know if this is part of my personality or anything. I don't know what it is, but the pain is not the pain is necessary. Like I've always known that. It's almost like no pain, no gain type thing with me. Like when me and Kurt broke up, and I was devastated. I was. And desperate, and desperate for something, because I know you lying, like something got to change. It was terrible. So at that point I knew, and it kind of reminds me of going to the gym with my trainer, because I used to cry. Those two things, going into the program with you and being at the gym with Dwayne, both things made me cry a lot, because both were hard as hell. You see what I'm saying? Like, I've been a fat girl all my life, and what you talking about exercise? Are you crazy? So the gym hurt me. I was hurt. So literally, I'm talking about physically hurt. And I cried when I get back in my car, because I realized that I've got to be okay with this pain in order to change. And it was the same way in the damn program. It was the same way, because, like you said, it was all the crying, all of the shedding, the layers, and getting back to me. And it wasn't easy, but it's just something about the pain that I feel like it's always been beautiful. That's just how I feel personally.
I was gonna say that it is beautiful. And of course, we don't want to be running from a program that, everything in life has to be painful for it to be good. That's not what either of us are saying. But when you when you really want change in your life, when you really want change in your inner world, when you get fed up enough with feeling subpar, less than who you are, and you're sick of experiencing things on the outside that don't go the way you want them to, or still don't make you feel better on the inside, you go into that pain, and it is something beautiful about the human experience. My understanding and belief is that we all come from spirit, and spirit there is no pain and there is no fear. It's all love and light, and it's beautiful. And to be able to come to a planet where there is polarity, night and day, joy and pain, to experience that, it is beautiful. And that's a big part of it. Like, that's a big part of meditation practice. When you do just a standard, seated meditation, you learn to love all those parts of you. Like, there is no getting to a place where you never feel pain again. Yes, we want to get rid of these programs that aren't working for us, and of course we don't want to be carrying our childhood pain around. But have you ever seen someone lose someone they love to either death or a breakup, and they cry their eyes out, and it's sad, right? They're in pain. They might be crying really hard, but what they're really doing in that pain is loving. That pain is love. And when you work on your own self, that pain is love, because you're only confronting it because you love yourself enough to want to feel better, to want to get to the other side, to want to get more in touch with yourself. And so all of those, quote, negative emotions become also beautiful.
Right. Exactly. Um. So yeah, the pain. Um, like you said, we don't want to paint a picture that it's all pain, but I swear, like, when you're cleaning out that subconscious mind, or doing that shadow work stuff, I mean, you got to deal with the ugly.
Yep. There's no, the only way out is through.
The only way out is through. Right. Hmm. You got to be ready to deal with the ugly. It's almost like another thing that I really I've met people like this along the way, and this is shitty and it doesn't work. That toxic positivity thing where you just glean over everything and make it beautiful. Can
Yeah.
you talk about that?
It's real. It's out there. It's easy to get caught up in. I spent a few years caught up in that myself many years ago, because it's very appealing. Again, we don't want to go near the pain. And so it's like, oh, if I could just think positive and feel positive, but then we wind up just beating ourselves up, trying desperately to just feel positive and be positive. When you clear out that subconscious stuff and go through the pain, it's a lot easier to be positive and feel positive.
Right.
And all you wind up doing is stuffing it down, like
Yes.
you're holding it in, and it doesn't work. You can't. I remember many years ago someone said to me, you can't lie to the universe. Like, the energy you're putting out, no matter how far you stuff something down, that energy is still coming out, and other people can feel it, the universe can feel it. It's still going to blow back in your face in your experience, one way or the other, if
Mhm.
you're just trying to
Yes,
stuff it
ma'am.
down. Right?
Right.
The only way out is through, but the only way through is out. You have to let it out.
You have to let it out. Right. So again, like I said, you've got to go in there. You've got to clean it out. You've got to own the shittiness, the trash, the pain. You got to sort it. Sometimes you even got to investigate it, sit with it, all of that. All of that is a part of that. So that toxic positivity and speaking positive words over that thing, because no, that is not it. I think I tried it for a while too, but
It's
it doesn't
actually
work.
easier because, again, our natural state is happiness and love and joy and all of that. And so you don't have to force yourself to think positive or be positive. If you get rid of the things that are making you feel negative and shitty, then you automatic again, it's like the sun behind the clouds. The sun is still there.
Yes.
So if you move the clouds out of the way, you're going to be positive. You're going to
Mm.
have a positive outlook. It's the natural side effect of going into the shadow, into the darkness.
Are there is the shadow good? Is there goodness there? Or
I
is it
think
all bad?
I kind of don't like that black and white line of thinking. How
Okay.
about it's not good or bad? It's an aspect of this reality. It just is.
I like that. I like that. It's not good or bad. It's an aspect of the reality. That means that it is what it is. It's the shadow. It's the experiences. It's what has happened, what I've seen, what I've done, what I know. It's all of that. And I nowadays, like, I love it.
That's the thing, and that I think is important for us to kind of highlight is
What?
that when you very first start doing the work,
Hmm.
it's uncomfortable like that. But once you have a sort of a system, a comfort zone within discomfort in general, within yourself, it can become fun even in the discomfort. Like, you might have an experience that's making you angry, or you might have an experience that's making you sad. And you're able to experience those emotions and have that experience fully, with a full on knowing that you're going to move through it.
Hmm.
And it can become fun in that you can have relationships or your job or whatever in your life, and something uncomfortable comes up and you go, oh, that's something I can change and work on. Game on. Let's do it. Like, it becomes kind of fun because you really start to, even though we ultimately don't, but you start to feel like you have control, which you do. You can't control everything that's happening on the outside, but you can change and work on. You do have a certain level of control on the inside. And again, I don't mean toxic positivity or
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
squeezing tight, controlling. I mean, you have control of the outside is a reflection. Everything that we're experiencing on the outside is a reflection of what's going on the inside, those unconscious thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. So when something on the outside triggers us, brings up an emotional reaction, we can take that, we can point fingers and go, that thing, that person, that this is making me feel X, Y, or Z. Or we can go, that thing, person, feeling, whatever experience out there is making me feel a certain way, which means the way that I feel is already a pre-existing feeling within me, because if it wasn't, there wouldn't be anything to get triggered. Let me go change that. Let me find out where that's coming from. Where did it start? What, and then everything, it becomes like a game. And it's fun. And the more you do it and the better you get at it, of course, once you get through that sort of initiate period where it's kind of hell for a little while, you can get to a place where it's fun and it's a game and you can use it. Like, you can go, oh, this is happening on the outside and I don't want to experience that. And it's making me feel like this on the inside. And you work on that thing on the inside and then you watch the things on the outside change with little or no effort on your part. And it becomes very, very magical. The reality of that we create our lives from the inside, literally, like, it seems magical, but it is just, it's quantum physics. It's reality. Energy attracts energy and we are creating our lives. It's not like, oh, it's law of attraction and it's some woo-woo thing anymore. It's literal. It's real. And so when you really start to work this and you have a system and a connection and a way within you that you do it, you can do it on the inside and watch it change on the outside and do it on the inside and watch it change on the outside. And that's really empowering and it's really fun.
Yeah, it is. And the way that I visualize it is that it's energy. It's energy. That's all it is.
That's
And
all
it's
we
very,
are.
yes, and it's very identifiable, but the energy is really emotions.
Yes.
It's the emotions, and that's the energy. So I've been thinking, I'm like, and like you said, it starts on the inside. So I feel a certain type of way. Therefore, I present, I speak. I have a certain type of energy that's radiating from me to you or to whomever I'm around or dealing with or talking to. It's a energy. Like, and so I was like, oh my God, wonder if I'm walking around every day like really, really angry all the time. And the only energy that's flowing from me is anger.
You're going to experience a lot of things that are going to make you really angry, because I always say it's blowing back in your face, whatever energy you're putting out. And it's not just emotion, it's thought too. It's thoughts and emotions, and they like loop, they feed each other. Like, if you start ruminating about someone you're angry with, then you start feeling anger, or maybe you felt angry first and then you start ruminating. They can't be separated, right? They are connected, and they are energy. I mean, think about everybody's had this experience at some time in their life when they're standing somewhere and they can feel, whether it's someone they know or a stranger, they can feel someone looking at them.
Yes.
It's like that. Like, what are you putting into the world? Forget about the world. What are you putting into your life? Because if you're always ruminating on negative angry things, then you're always feeling negative and angry. That's the energy you're putting in your life. That's quote karma. And that's going to come blowing back in your face because that's what you're putting out right now.
So if a person they have enough, they've identified, they know what looks, I'm mad as hell all the time and I don't know why. What should they do?
Well, the question that comes to my mind around that is like, why are you really angry? So instead of saying you don't know why, you can follow the breadcrumbs and say, well, I'm angry because walking into the store, that person didn't hold the door for me. They let it shut in my face. But if you can enter the subconscious just like this. If you ask yourself then, well, how did it make me feel? Well, it made me feel angry. Well, why did it make you feel angry? Because it was rude. And why did that person being rude why does that bother you? Well, because it's disrespectful. Do you see how we're getting a little deeper and a little deeper? Well, what does
Yes.
that mean if someone disrespects you? It means
Yeah,
I don't
keep going.
matter. Oh my God, you just uncovered a subconscious belief. I don't matter.
And where would something like that come from? I don't matter.
Childhood, anywhere in childhood. I mean, it can be as silly as mom didn't stop at the store on the way home, to I was physically abused in some way,
Okay.
to
Just
my
the
parents
range.
didn't have any emotional intelligence and
Hmm.
I was sad and they didn't do anything about it. Like, it can be a big thing, it can be a small thing. To a certain degree, it doesn't matter. The most important thing, it's more important that you know what it is than where it's coming from.
Okay.
Because you can start to change that if you know what it is.
Hmm.
It is more important than where or how it got there.
And this is what it takes to start to get back to your original self by noticing the programs and then working on those things.
Right. And because you can feel the discord within you
Hmm.
when you feel into a feeling like, oh, well, that means I don't matter. The reason that feeling like you don't matter doesn't feel good is because on a deeper level, sun behind the clouds again, you know you do matter.
Mm.
So now there's conflict within you. There's a feeling that I don't matter, but a knowing that I do matter. So when you get that I don't matter out of the way, now you feel aligned. Now you feel like your real self, because no one really believes that they don't matter. It might feel like you really believe that, but the reason it's so uncomfortable and so upsetting to feel that is because you know it's not true on a deeper level.
Mm.
It's
I love
like,
it.
this is like ego and spirit,
Oh
truth
God.
and falsity.
What's the difference?
Well, like ego and spirit, ego is the part of you that's like programmed. Ego is the part that's like,
Okay,
well,
going back to the
I
program.
don't I don't I don't matter.
Hmm.
And spirit is like, we all matter. You matter.
Hmm.
Like, it's a knowing inside of you. You don't have to program that in or find a way to believe it. You just have to get the opposite belief out of the way. The ego, get a nice clean ego that's not beating the shit out of you in your head all the time without you knowing it.
Mm. Nice, clean ego. That's nice. I might get a T-shirt that says that. I got, I got a nice, clean ego. Hmm. How important is this work, Rosemary, that we're talking about?
Whew, part of me wants to say vitally, and part of me wants to say as important as you make it. Like, I don't really believe if everybody else on the planet doesn't get with the program, it's going to mess up my life. My life is a result of my energy and the work that I'm doing. And I'm going to experience where I'm at energetically, emotionally, mentally, beliefs, et cetera, et cetera. So it really is only as important as you make it as an individual. If it's important to you, then do it. If you want to feel better, then do it. If you want to live a better life and feel better inside and be more connected to yourself and feel more connected and have more beautiful, loving relationships, then do it. But there, there are plenty of people on the planet who this just isn't the lifetime for them to do it. Like, I know people personally who just like, they're not living miserable lives. They're not living to the potential they'd like to be living, but they're okay kind of just being in a sort of middle ground. I don't want to say mediocre because that just sounds insulting, but they're okay with that. Like, they don't have a burning desire to do this work. And then there's people,
Well,
from earlier generations who like it's just not part of their lifetime for them.
well, I mean, I didn't either. It chose me.
Exactly.
I didn't
It
even
doesn't
know it
choose everybody.
existed.
It doesn't choose everybody, and the people who are choosing not to do it or don't even know they're choosing, they're just not
Yeah,
doing it by default. There's nothing wrong with them. They're not doing something bad. They're not going to mess up your chances of doing it or your chances of living in the world you want or having the experiences you want. They are not a threat to me or you or anyone else.
yeah, they're just not doing it. They're just not going to do it for whatever reason.
Right. And
Yeah,
once you really understand that you are the person who impacts your life, your thoughts, feelings, beliefs,
girl, let's
energy
talk
are what
about it.
create your life. It doesn't matter what those
Oh,
other people, and it gets really hairy when it's people you're involved with that are in your life, because you're like, well, I really want you to do this because I want you to experience what I'm experiencing. I want us to experience that together. But it's not in the cards for everyone, or maybe for some people it's not in the cards right now, but it will be later. Like, you just don't know. And at some point, that's another one of those sort of painful places where you might have to go, it could be a spouse or a sibling or a kid or a parent, and like, you really want them to change, but at some point we have to kind of accept that might not happen,
right.
and hopefully place, and it can take work to get there, but where you're not angry and judgmental of the other person for not being there or not getting there.
Right. I don't think well, since I've been on my journey, I don't think that I've been judgmental toward anybody for not, only thing for not doing it. Like, it is what it, you know what I mean? Like, I don't. I felt like it chose me though. I felt like this journey, I landed here because that's where I'm supposed to be.
But I think we
I love it.
all, even if we don't realize it, I mean, anyone who's been in a relationship and broken up, there's ups, it's always, well, can't you do things my way? Like, there's always a thread of that in that.
What do you mean?
I think all of us in relation to other people, like even in like what we talked about earlier, where it was, I had friends and I wound up with different friends,
Mhm.
or even the church, things about the church, like, it's like, why are you doing it that way? Do it this way. You know what I mean? We all get caught up in that somewhere.
Well, yeah, yeah, we don't want to open up that conversation.
Sorry, I threw in the C word, but I knew you'd get it. It came to mind, and I knew you'd know what I was saying if I brought up the C word.
um, yeah, it's just, yeah, it's a lot. I did a live the other day, Rosemary. I don't know if you saw it, but I titled it "Why I'm Never Going Back to Church." And it's sort of like what you said earlier about the difference between the spiritual and the ego.
Mm-hmm.
It is very much like that. To me, it might not be like that for everybody else, but for me, yeah. So, yeah, it's been a journey. But the love that I have for myself now, and the acceptance for myself and connection to spirit, I think is what I started off with when I was 10 years old. I actually went back to that conversations with God when nobody else was around. That's what I
Mm.
landed. That's where I landed back at, is where I started from in the beginning.
It's definitely didn't start for me at 10. I was just surviving. I was just very traumatized, very the most I remember is I went to Catholic school and I literally at 10 years old was like saying my Hail Marys and Our Fathers when I went to bed, asking God to give me the strength to kill myself. I didn't get into spirituality or any sort of this deep stuff until I was 19.
Oh wow. Yeah. Mm. So you were asking you were asking God to do what? What did you say?
Give me the strength to kill myself?
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, at a very young age. I experienced a lot of very, very big traumas, and I didn't have any support. Um, and it was that place, just so much pain and fear, and I didn't know where it was coming from because the abuse that I experienced was all repressed. And I remembered I had my very first memories when I was 19, and go figure, that was right around the same time that I opened up to spirituality. But prior to that, I really just thought I was completely broken. I had no idea why I felt the way that I felt, why I was experiencing internally what I was experiencing. And then it started to open up at when I was 19. And
Mm.
that's when I started on a whole new path. Not that you
Well,
have much of a path before 19, but it was very different for me starting at that point.
yeah. Oh wow. What a journey.
Mhm. It's like it literally feels like a different lifetime. Like, I feel like I've lived multiple lifetimes within this lifetime,
Wow.
and many of them I have let go. I've healed so fully, released so fully, whatever word you wanna use, that it doesn't
Hmm.
even feel like it was something I experienced. It literally feels like I'm talking about a different lifetime. Like, "Oh, yeah, that last lifetime when I experienced," but it was it was actually in this lifetime.
Yeah. I've I say the same thing. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay, my phone just went dark. I say the same thing. I've lived three different lifetimes. It seems like three different lives in this one life to me.
Yep. Time is a crazy thing because it's not really real, so time is fake. So yeah, it can really time is a crazy thing. I have a very crazy relationship with time because it's not real.
Yeah, I've heard other people say that. I don't know if I don't really get it, but I've heard other people say that they've created the days and the, but it's just that's not real. So I don't know how it um
Well, from a spiritual perspective, everything's happening at the same time. And quantum, if you uh, read, study, look into quantum physics,
mhm.
um, it it's the science that is proving that everything happens at the same time. Like everything is happening at the same time, like all of your lifetimes. Like time is just something we use to measure here on earth, but in the spiritual realm, since it's just consciousness, so everything is happening all at the same time. Your birth, your death, your past lives, everything is happening all at the same time.
I got to get into that. That is interesting. I got to find out
Yeah.
what's going on and build these new pathways in my brain so so
Yeah.
it'll connect with me with that, cuz that's awesome. I remember a little story time that Nipsey Hussle's mother told the story of that spirit had visited her mother, spirit had visited her, and Nipsey had had a dream. And the day that she drove to his store, and before she got all the way there, Ashlyn, I'm on the live. Before she got all the way there, she saw police cars and everything. So a block away, she pulls over, rolled her window down, and say to the officer, "What's going on ahead?" He says, "Well, somebody killed Nipsey." She said, "Are you sure that he's dead?" The officer says, "Yes." So she's telling this story at his funeral, and that's her son. But
Oh,
it's her son. But she said spirit told her mother that spirit was coming and that once somebody was going to leave, and the grandmother tried to she told spirit, just take me because I'm old, but please don't bother with anybody else, just make sure you come and get me. And then the mother knew too, but she didn't know it was him. But anyway, it sounds like that to me. That woman changed my life because i never I never seen a black woman especially to stand on a stage at her son's funeral and speak about the afterlife and the audience and the elders that were existing in the other realm, and that they had come to get Nipsey and they were going to escort him to the other side. And she stood there with such a love and a boldness and a confidence. Nothing that I had seen in the church world is all fear and grief and tears and just totally chaos. But with this woman, it was that spirit was alive and well, and all the other people were already there. And Nipsey's journey in this world was over. He had done big things. He was back with the elders, and they were going to live out their lives, and they were going to go back eventually too. And
that's really beautiful.
she said it just like I'm talking now at her own son's funeral, and I had never heard anything like that before. But she's a spiritual person.
Mm.
And at the time I didn't know what it was. I just knew that she was a lot different and than anything that I'd ever seen or heard, and that was so attractive to me. And whatever, because the confidence was through the roof. It was something that I'd never experienced, and I wanted more of that. And that was way before I came into the program.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, kind of along those lines, if we're gonna go like really out woo woo, there is a book called, I'll look it up in a second.
Okay.
I think it's called Your Soul's Gift. I read it a very long time ago, and I think there's like some sequels. There's like 2 or 3 of them. And I think the first one is Your Soul's Gift, and it's the gentleman who wrote the book, and then he has like a woman with a psychic gift, and her gift is that she can see into the quote planning room where we plan our lives. And it's not that we plan our whole lives, it's that all of us are pure in spirit, and people, even the people who hurt us the most in our lifetime, usually like our spirit friends. So this person's psychic ability is to see into the planning where you go, we choose our parents, we choose our entry point. And oftentimes, especially since we did start this out talking about childhood physical abuse and ancestral trauma and that kind of thing, and that we choose our entry point, the family, the parents, and that even the abuser, not here on earth, I'm not whitewashing anything, but that prior to being here, that we sometimes, like a soul will say to another soul, hey, I want to go experience this challenge of being abused in childhood. Will you be my abuser?
Oh God.
And that sometimes that other spirit is a little reluctant, like, well, that's a lot to handle in that lifetime, and I don't really want to. And but then you say, well, but I really want to learn this lesson, and I really want to have X experience, and having that negative experience is going to help me. And that's how we do it. Like, no one is really your enemy, not over there. And if you're into this healing thing and clearing these things out and getting to the truest, purest part of yourself, you have to, again, no whitewashing, no toxic positivity. You have to get through anger and putting the blame where it belongs on the other person, all of those human things. And they're very important to go through when you're healing these deeper things. But way out the other side, when you get through all of those emotions, it goes in layers and layers. You can get to a place where not only do you not hold resentment, but you're grateful for every experience you ever had, because the unfoldment of that and the healing of that is what allowed you to experience the peeling away and exposing the true you here on earth.
Girl, that's a whole nother level. You hear me? That's a whole nother thing. Oh my goodness. Did you guys enjoy the live tonight? Because we enjoyed y'all being here. We pretty much kept at least 12 people here most of the time. So that was good. So somebody, y'all got a good ear full. Rosemary, did you have a good time?
I did. Thank you so much for having me. We should do
Oh,
this more often. This is
oh
fun.
yes. Oh yes, ma'am. We should.
You know how much I love to talk about this stuff.
I mean, you're fantastic, and I'm humbled by you being here with me and us. And yeah, we want to certainly have you back. I guess we need a time where everybody knows that for sure that we're gonna be here. We need to be here at least for an hour, and then I need to share it. We need to share it on social media. Um yes. Let me see. Sierra said yes, the live was very enlightening and interesting. Oh, thank you, Sierra.
And I
Um
do want to say, I know there are some comments there and some people said hi and stuff. I'm sorry. I get so into the conversation that I couldn't multitask, but hello. And I appreciate everybody who said hello and welcomed me. Thank you.
you guys do us a favor and share the live. Um and Rose, we'll let you guys know when we're going to be back. As we always say, kisses and hugs, and y'all have a wonderful evening. Rosemary, I'm going to call you right after the live.
Okay. Bye,
Okay.
everyone.
Bye, guys.